Michael Tipper is a consultant, teacher, and public speaker. He specialises in memory and promotes techniques to improve it. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what exactly you do?
Sure. Well, my interest at the moment is probably better if I describe who I am, really. And I'm someone who has a balance of creativity and process. And that's come through my background as an engineer. I was in the military, in the Royal Navy for 16 years in the submarine service, doing systems and processes and managing teams. And then I developed an interest in learning how to think more effectively, which made me more creative. So the blend of those two skills are the things that I use in the work that I do now. And that's ranged from teaching kids how to learn, helping people become better at their leadership, consulting, writing books, and helping people use their minds more effectively.
Is it quite a common mistake among people to think that they've got a bad memory when it's actually something else?
Many people come to me and say, I've got a poor memory. And invariably what it is, it's very rare that there's a memory problem. Now there are problems with the brain and illnesses that can cause shortfalls in the memory, but most challenges that people have are often circumstantial and the memory is blamed. To give you an example, a common problem is someone will come home and the keys go on the table, wherever they put the keys. The following day they get up and they go into work and they can't find the keys. Where are the keys? I can't find my keys. I've forgotten where I put my keys. My memory must be going. And they blame their memory. When in reality what's happened is that when they've come home from work, they've been thinking about something else. They put the keys down without consciously thinking about it. And so when they come to consciously think about where the keys are, they were never involved in that process in the first place. And so it's a concentration thing.
What sort of techniques do you use to help people to train their memory and develop better memory skills?
The techniques for remembering things vary depending on what you actually want to remember. So broadly speaking, what you're looking to do is take something, and the principles of memory are, first of all, you use your imagination, and then you use your imagination to create an image that is memorable. Then you use association to link it to something that you already know. That, broadly speaking, is how memory works. So if we take something as simple as a shopping list, for example, you can create a filing system in your mind. So, for example, there is one where we call it the number rhyme system. So 1, 2, 3, 4 to 10, we take a word that rhymes with one sun, 2 shoe, 3 tree. So that your filing system for the third item would be an image of a tree. If on a shopping list item number 3 was some smoked salmon, for example, you might see your picture of the tree covered in smoked salmon. It's a bizarre image. It's unusual, particularly if it's big pieces of smoked salmon. So those are the principles that you apply, the imagination and the association, and you make it outstanding. So you make this really weird image that's likely to be easy to recall. So having created that image, when you're in the shops and you go through, okay, I've got item number 1, which was linked to your image of the sun, item number 2, which was linked to your image of the shoe. Oh, what's item number 3? Okay, oh, it's a tree, smoked salmon, get my smoked salmon. So that in principle is how most of the techniques work. And there are a variety of ways to create that filing system. So number rhyme, I've just said, number shape. So numbers, so 2 could look like a swan. 4 could look like the sails of a yacht. 5 could be a big hook. 6 could be the trunk of an elephant, for example. Then beyond that, you get into more sophisticated systems that start playing around with the number systems. You then start looking at things called, some of these techniques are very old. There's the Greek loci system or the Roman room system. They're the same system. So the room that we're in, for example, now could be a filing system. So we have the sofa, we have the chair, we have the fireplace, we have the window, we have the door. Those are fixed items. So I could link something unusual to the chair, something unusual to the door, So when I'm coming to recall, I would go, what was on the door? Oh yeah, it was that weird image that I created. So that's fundamentally how it works. Now, there are other variety of techniques as well. Mind mapping is a very powerful memory tool as well. So if I gave you some information that was across several pages of text and then gave you the mind map, or it said to you, mind map that, the process of you doing that, because you're analysing, because you're synthesising, because you're summarising, because you're organising, will create a memory trace that is more than if you just copied. So that will stick in your short-term memory much better than if you had just read it. Things like names and faces. The problem that most people have with names and faces is that they never get the name in the first place because of the introduction. So the shaking of the hands, they're too busy saying their own name, they never hear the other person's name, so they never remember it, but they blame their memory. So just giving someone the process of how to introduce themselves and what to do is an example of another technique. And there are things like mnemonics as well. So how do you remember the colours of a rainbow? Richard of York gave battle in vain is an example of that. And there are there are numerous examples of those.